Hello, everybody. I'm still Harvey Silverman, and welcome to a special edition of NGCOA Tech Talks. This is a special edition because we are coordinating a campaign to let the industry know about the importance of Google's new ability to place an online booking button directly on a golf course's business page. And we have two gentlemen with us today who were instrumental in getting this whole process started, and the first two to have their systems coordinate with Google. We have Jonathan Wride, the CEO of TenFore Golf Systems, and John Brown, the CEO of GolfBack and GreatLIFE Golf. Gentlemen, thanks for coming.
Thanks, Harvey. Great to be here.
Good. So just a little background for everybody. If you haven't been in tune with what's happened in the last few weeks with Google and NGCOA, this really started back in July when there was a big blow up with what GolfNow did in coordinating with Google, which was fine. That was Google's right and intent to do so. But what happened after that with GolfNow placing the online booking button unknowingly onto their golf course clients' business pages kind of blew up this whole thing and made apparent to us at NGCOA that there was something going on with Google that we needed to know about. So since then, we've had, I've written a series of articles. The third one came out on Friday. There was an interview just this past Thursday with Jay and Don Ray and a gentleman named Adam Jaffe from Google. And today is the third leg of this coordinated campaign. And our intent is to give both the golf management system providers a little pressure to get the approvals necessary to help their clients with placement of the booking button, and with the clients themselves, the golf courses themselves, understanding what they need to do and why this is so important to their business. So both Jonathan at TenFore and John Brown at GolfBack were the first two system providers to make this happen. And I'd like to know from each of you why you placed a priority on this, and with that, what resources you had to expend to make this happen. Because I know the approval process is not simple. It's quite involved, and I give Google credit for making sure that companies like yours are fully vetted. So we want to know, first of all, why you put a priority on this, and then second, what resources you had to expend to make this happen. Either one of you can.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, John, I'll just go first. Yeah. Thanks, John. Thanks, Harvey, and thanks for having us on. I really appreciate it. Back, I think I was looking at my notes. I think it was July 6th, so July 4th weekend, right? Jay reached out to me about this thing with a book online button coming, going directly to GolfNow courses. Well, only to GolfNow, right, to their marketplace. So he wrote to Jason and myself, and he said, "Hey guys, what is happening? Do you know about this? How is this, going to happen? How is it going to work for other courses, etc." So we all decided over the weekend we need to get in touch with Google. But being, I think, my research here, the 8th largest company in the world. I mean, who do you call, right? 1-800-Google or something like that. So I'm lucky to have some great advisors. One of them is David Young. He used to be head of digital for Expedia. So they obviously spend a lot of money with Google. So within 24 hours, we were in touch with the right person. And I think 48 after that, we were on a call with Adam and just asked him what's this about. And that's when Google, really leaned in, which is what the result we wanted now, right? We all know a lot more about it today. But when they were saying, hey, listen, we want all GMS providers, we want all courses involved, we want everybody to be a part of this. And I know John heard the same thing, and it was, music to our ears, right? Because we want to be able to provide that button and go directly to our golf course booking engine. So we said we'd be at the front of the line, like others said, especially John. And we just jumped in. We committed the resources, the time, the money, because we thought it was that important. But I think more so also for the future, to own that spot for the golf course owner, we felt as TenFore critical that the golf course owned that piece of real estate because it's just so valuable. So at the end of the day, we just put all resources on it. It wasn't huge. I think in the beginning, what cost us a lot of time, John and I were talking about this the other day, because, they develop it pretty quickly too, right? Ours was in the issue. I think in the beginning we were too soon, because we just had to keep waiting for Google. Then the application, John, if you went through this, it would stop you. It'd say, well, you can't do this, because it was programmed for other industries, not ours yet. So it was that early on, but we made it through it. And then, super happy that we did.
Yeah, I think it's important that, the industry know that Google's making a commitment here to try to provide a better consumer experience online when it comes to purchasing tee times. And Golf Now, being what they are, they were the first to become aware of that. So they built the book online feature and had that integration so that if someone typed in a golf course's name and saw the Google business listing and clicked book online, it would go to golfnow.com. And obviously, us watching that happen, we're thinking, man, you're redirecting organic traffic. Someone that types in a specific golf course then gets pointed to a third-party aggregator. That's not right. That should be the golf course's traffic, right? Especially with the world we're in, more and more online golf, more and more mobile golf. You just need to protect that real estate, Harvey. And I think ultimately, the golf course owners and operators are going to need the help of the GMS companies to build this integration so that when you click that book online button, it does go to your website. But, we think golf courses should demand that. And we knew it was important. And I think Jonathan and I just said, this is organic traffic. If someone types in a golf course names, it gets the Google, profile listing, they should be redirected to the golf course's booking engine, period. Nowhere else. And so, that's why it was a priority for us. I know that's why it was a priority for Jonathan. And, now a couple of us have gone through this process. I think it'll get a little bit easier for some of the other companies to go through it. But, it's a process that needs to happen in the industry, we believe.
Agreed.
I think it's important to note, and we heard this from the people at Google when we met with them in Orlando. Just as a little background, we had like a little summit meeting where John and Jonathan and a few other people were involved with people from Google. It's important to note that Google's focus is on the user experience.
Yep.
They'll do what they can. They do what they have to protect the business's profile and so on. But this is about the Google user experience. And somewhere probably in the last few years, probably through COVID, I'm thinking that some intern at Google started seeing all these requests for tee times near me, or find me a tee time, or something like that, and went back to their boss at Google and say, hey, we're seeing all these requests now for tee times that we've never seen before. There's something going on here. Whether that happened or not doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that Google did recognize, along with what they've already done with hotels and airlines and restaurants and hair salons and other places, that their users were saying, we want an easier way to find tee times when we're looking to go play golf. And that's how this whole thing came about to where we are today. So that was Google's background. What happened with Golf Now was something that Google, I think you'd agree, guys, kind of apologized for. They didn't realize what Golf Now would do with that capability. And that's why they've made it their priority to get to people like Jonathan and John and other GMS providers to help them facilitate getting this booking button on their clients' business pages. Jonathan, you said you had a little more, I think, contact with Google as this was all developing. Is that correct?
Yeah, when Jay reached out to me on that Saturday and to Jason, it was just getting in front of them because, now again, looking back, we kind of know the story, right? But at that time, we had no idea this was just a Golf Now Google thing, or if this was going to be open, or, we could have had that call and they said, well, yeah, listen, we just put a deal together with Golf Now and we're not inviting anybody else. But it wasn't that. So when we did talk to him, and it was with Adam, and as you know, he's a heck of a nice guy. And, and him and his team with Andy, et cetera, it was all about how do you help us get more GMS providers, not just yourselves. So I think, with us and John, we had the ability, and we felt it was a priority internally that we put this to the top of our lists. And that's why, we were the first to do it. But now it's for everybody else get on board. And they are coming. It's just, I think, maybe move it up that list a little bit to be a priority, because I do think it's important to the golf course owner. But the conversations with Google, and they're very available, right? And John, I'm sure you see the same thing. If you have a question or you want to comment or you want to discuss something, because in our meeting, if you remember, we were pushing them to take this one step further. And, they had their product manager in there, and, will they? I think I got the impression we left that she was open to taking it another step further. So when you say golf tee times near me, you might just still show a list, but it's book online, book online, book online, book online. And then maybe you can go out and see an aggregated version then of those courses near you. But we'll have to see, because, sometimes I hear, hey, we've gone about as far as we want to go. But then other times in that meeting, I thought there was a possibility we could push it a little further, which I know Jay would love. So.
Yeah.
John, you first of all, Jonathan, go back to you for just a minute. From what I know right now, the other GMS providers who have the Google approval include 4Up and Club Caddy, Quick 18 or Sagacity. I don't know what they call themselves these days, but one of Sagacity, Quick 18 has the approval, along with GolfBack and TenFore. The few others I've spoken with, I know one had what was declined originally, but it was a technical error that they made when they were filling out the application. So that's still in process. There's only been a couple I've got kind of wishy-washy answers from about where they put this in their development list, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I've spoken with one who said, I just don't have the resources to do this anytime soon, so whenever I get around to it, I'll get around to it, which I thought was a really poor answer. But it's really going to take the clients of the various GMS systems to put pressure on them to say, hey, I want to get this done as soon as possible, because we're getting into the season. We're going to be into the season now in just the next few weeks in most of the country. And having that real estate, John, as you put it, claimed on their business profile is going to provide them with some, again, organic traffic, as you said, that they've never been able to have before.
Right.
Yeah, I think Jonathan alluded to the conversation we had with Google, and that, they might be continuing to invest in making this experience an even better experience for the consumer. So what does that mean for a golf course owner operator, right? Well, hopefully what that means is we have higher conversion rates, because, their mobile experience is, such that, they quickly book, and they've seen those higher conversion rates in other industries. So if we're dealing with, a 10 to 12% conversion rate on our website when they're looking at our booking engines, is a 20, 25, 30% conversion rate available through a Google listing, as long as that traffic's being funneled directly, I think that's a great thing for the industry potentially. I know we're piloting the live tee time inventory right now with Google, which is basically you hit the tee time button under the Google profile and you've got your live inventory. So it's basically one click and you can book. We're piloting that right now, and I'm really anxious to see what our conversion rates look like. So I think the idea that Google is committed to creating a great consumer experience can translate very well for golf if we understand how important it is that we have that direct connection to the customer. And the only way we're going to do that, right, is if the Google business listings and the book online button get pointed back to our booking engines, and we need our GMS partners to do that. And so I think more and more will get on board. But I think it's actually an exciting time, because the reality is that's where golf purchasing is going, and we need to be in the forefront of it, in my opinion.
A couple of things that Google told us. First, they're seeing more requests for tee times, coming from mobile than they ever have before. And John, what you mentioned with that tee time module that they created, and this was created, I think, after this whole thing started in July. I assume they probably had it in development at that time, but that tee time module that you mentioned with the tee time button is only available on mobile, on phones. It's not available on laptop. But that's fine, because Google's saying that's where everybody is anyway. That's where we want to be as well. So that's a critical component. I think another critical aspect to this is how Google's algorithms will help people find tee times. And I asked a direct question, and Google said, hey, we really can't fill you in on how the algorithms work. Okay, great. I get that. But what they did tell me was that the three most important components to a search are location, number one, relevance, number two, and prominence, number three. And I said, so will the blue booking button, will the direct booking button elevate a golf course when somebody's searching for something like tee times near me? And the response was, we can't tell you that exactly, but that's likely the case because of relevance and prominence. So if you have the booking button on your business page, you are going to be elevated in a search amongst other courses that may not have that button and may drop lower than you, even though they might be located closer to where that particular user is. And I think that's, I know both you gentlemen have talked about that as well, about the importance of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that book online, there's a distinction between the book online buttons, the big blue button. That's what you're talking about, Harvey, which is going to drive them back to the booking engine to book tee times. The live tee time inventory is actually seeing live tee times and their pricing in the Google profile. That's only listed on mobile, and maybe somebody's instinct is, well, should be listed, on the web as well. But the reality is at GolfBack, we have 130 golf course clients. We do a ton of online rounds. 75% of our rounds are mobile. So 3 out of 4, right? And I'm sure, Jonathan, you're probably seeing that same thing. So trying to be more relevant on mobile. And then obviously, hopefully coming back on the Google searches even stronger once you get these integrations are all residual positives.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, go ahead, Jonathan. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And, one thing, with us in my previous company, it was the same thing, right? It was 75, +% coming through mobile. And if you want to dig down further, the significant majority of that was coming through an iPhone, right? It was that was, ours. But I think what's nice about people that are joining today, right, compared to when, we were the pioneers, right? So when you look at the people joining today, they get a lot of the things we've been waiting for months. I think that official site and the name of the course is huge, because when we did this, and I try to keep Jay involved, because, we started and then John and others say, this is what we're doing kind of thing. And especially our course owners, because when this first happened, and even still today, it puts my logo, right? TenFore. That's not my real estate. And I have no interest in taking that real estate. So I immediately went to Jay and said, hey, you're going to see this. That's not me doing that. That's just how Google has to do it today. And then straight back to the course owner and say, hey, listen, you're going to see TenFore. But this soon, at some point, I think at the time they were saying end of the year, beginning of this year, which is close to when it's coming, it's going to say XYZ golf course official site. And I think that means a lot when you look, especially when we look for hotels, when it says, Marriott or Hilton official site, that's where you're going then, which is in our case, the owner of the golf course.
I saw a course today, just kind of surfing around, getting ready for this discussion. They had listed, first of all, this was a golf course that if you go to their website, does not have online bookings. Okay, which I thought was weird, because on their business page, when I clicked the big blue button, again, I'm doing this on my laptop, not on mobile, listed there were Golf Now, Tee It Up, Supreme Golf, Green Fee 365, which I'd not heard of before, and Golfscape. So there were 5 different outlets to connect with to book a tee time, but you could not book directly with the golf course itself. And as both of you have discussed, and especially you, John, that real estate is extremely valuable, and golf courses, and this will lead to my next question, golf courses have to understand how valuable that is. So for both of you, how are you now communicating this capability to your clients? And helping them in the case where they have not claimed their business page, and there's lots of golf courses that have not claimed their business page, which just kind of blows my mind. It's like, why would you not do this? It's pretty easy to do. But what communications are you have you initiated with your clients to help them understand why they need to do this and how simple it is for them to get this done?
Yeah, well, I'll go first just because this is John's specialization. So he'll be a lot deeper because of his, because of his company GolfBack. From our side, it's education, right? And we actually have it in our onboarding requirements, so when we go, and we don't see that many, honestly, that don't have it. I mean, maybe not filled out completely, we see for sure. Like they just put the name, the 18 holes. And as Google told us, no, put carts, put, practice range, put driving range, put every little detail you can. Otherwise you won't come up when someone says driving range.
Yeah.
Exactly. So with us, we just make it a part of the process of onboarding to our facility. Now, John, it goes a lot deeper, I'm assuming, because of their marketing abilities. So I'll, leave that to John.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is, like, Jonathan, I owe him a lot of credit because as a golf management company, a golf point of sale company, being the first to do this, when really it's only benefiting his clients. It's, he doesn't get to make a bunch of extra money on this. I give him a lot of credit. I'm sure some people know that I'm also the CEO of GreatLIFE Golf, which is a golf course management company. So I'm on both sides of this conversation. So obviously I did this from a GolfBack perspective. It helped me on a GreatLIFE perspective as well, right? So a lot of credit to Jonathan. But education, I think, is number one, what we're doing here, right? What's happening online, what an organic customer who's searching for your golf course, what can happen to that customer if you're not actively looking for ways to keep them engaged in direct channels. I think that's so important. I think there's an intimidation factor in having these Google conversations and just technology in general. And I think, as an industry, we have to be open and welcoming. For me, I know Brent Miller, my chief information officer, he was the one who got us to the point that we got the Google integrations. I couldn't do that. I'm a golf operator at heart who created a golf technology company to help my golf operations. So, I've got a great team, and, I'm happy to make that team available to anyone who has questions about this process, because I think it's really important in the industry. And then, eventually, I think where we're really going to make the traction, Harvey, is when we start proving, the adoption impact. When TenFore clients are showing their results, GolfBack clients are showing their results, 4Up clients, we're looking at these higher conversion rates. We're looking at more traffic on our websites. We're looking at higher profitability. That's ultimately how we're really going to make an impact, and where golf course owners and operators are frankly going to demand that, these direct connections are built.
I'll ask both of you a technical question. Can both TenFore and GolfBack identify the channel where that reservation came from? In other words, would your clients be able to pull a report that says, oh, look, this month I received 1,025 rounds coming through Google from my business page?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Okay. So you have the capability of identifying the channel from which a reservation was made.
Yes,
for sure.
Okay, excellent. Because I think that's going to be important to look at. Probably at the end of this year, as more and more courses are in. I think that'll be a great report to have industry wide to see how effective Google has been in driving direct business to golf courses. I think that'd be great.
I agree with that 100%, especially with what John just said, right? Is that if I get to go to a golf course and say, hey, listen, you're with a provider that doesn't offer this yet or chose not to offer it. Well, you're getting a 30% increase is what we're showing. And I'm making that number up. Obviously, you're getting a 30% increase by just having the book online button that you get through us for free, or as part of your package, however you want to say it. That's when you have the data behind it as well. Because then if you say, well, no, I don't want it, then I don't understand that part, right? So if it benefits that golf course and we can show it with data, I think that's where even more value comes. Sure.
Yeah, and I think again, working with Jay, as both of you have, I think that NGCOA will help to take a lead in accumulating this data over 2025. And we'll see at the end of the year, maybe make a presentation at the next Golf Business Conference and be able to put some real numbers to this that we hope will show a very positive influence in what Google has done for the golf business. I'll throw a hypothetical out for both of you. How do you see what Google has done and your influence in getting your clients, and hopefully other GMS will do the same, and getting them to install the big blue button with a direct link? How do you see this down the road affecting the various third parties?
I know I have my thoughts, but
maybe I'll go first on this one too.
Yeah,
John.
John.
I said this in popular or unpopular, right? If you don't get more GMS providers involved, I believe it'll be a benefit, right? Because if they're putting, if I'm an aggregator and I'm putting, Supreme Golf or Golf Now, whoever, and I'm the only one there, well, that's free traffic for me too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm getting that, why wouldn't I do that? And who were the first ones to really do it, right? It was the aggregators, right? Because they want that traffic. If we have, 1,000 courses, 2,000 courses one day, that's 2,000. Well, if you're aggregating, 10,000 courses, imagine the traffic. So I think that's why it's so important, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And I'll differ with John, however, I'm a technology provider. So I'll provide the technology the course wants, and that includes the integrations, whatever they feel. I'm not here to tell them how to run their business. But at the end of the day, it's common sense to take that book online button and send it to your golf course so you can get the traffic, so you can get the data, so you can get the booking. That one, I think, is at the top of the list, on an onboarding process. Now, John can have his thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I am of the opinion that a golf course's inventory is the most valuable component of an operation, and you need to protect it. You need to protect organic searches around your tee times and your brand. And if you do that strategically and you drive that traffic direct, your business is much stronger for it. And, I give the example of, what if we took every traded bartered tee time in the golf marketplace and we did away with all those traded and bartered tee times, and we just repopulated all that inventory back to the golf course owners? What would happen, right? We would all have a lot more money. That's what would happen. And, the reality is, we've been scared because we felt like we need that third-party aggregator network. And why do we feel like we need it? It's because they have strategies like this, where they're taking the book online button in a Google listing and being the first to redirect it to their third-party channel. And if we don't fight back, we're inevitably we're going to be in a bad position when having conversations and negotiations if we did want to work with those third-party aggregators. And it's just such a challenge when you have a third-party aggregator who's trading tee times and selling them on their platform. They're always going to be in a position, when it comes to the online environment and real estate, of being positioned against what's in the best interest of the golf course, which in my mind is driving the customer direct, right? So I think education, I think evaluation, I think analyzing these numbers. I mean, I know it's already happening. I mean, we have 130 courses right now that are working with GolfBack, and they're all focused on driving direct, and their tee times aren't listed on third parties, and we get a lot more traffic on our course website. So I know there's already a movement happening, but it's situations just like this, Harvey, just like you and Jay pointed out, just like Jonathan, sunk his teeth in and realized it's an issue that can really have an impact long term when we think about them and when we counteract them.
Excellent. This has been great, and I'm glad both of you agreed to be interviewed about this today. When this gets out, I'm going to be sending a link to all of my contacts at all the other GMS companies that I know have not yet completed or maybe even started the approval process with Google, because again, our intent and Jay's intent is to apply some pressure to make sure that this happens as quickly and efficiently as possible. Either one of you have anything else you want to add to the conversation?
I think it's a great thing. And I just keep hoping, we can continue to push Google to take it further, right? That's, to me, the more you can push them, the more access people have. It just gets better for the golf course owner. So to me, I just would like Google to keep going and not slow down.
I totally agree. And the responsiveness so far, I thought has been great. Our input about that consumer experience, they seem like they absorb it and they really think about it from their perspective and if they can offer that. So, to me, we're in a positive partnership with Google, kind of reshaping potentially how online golf's bought, especially mobily. And that's exciting.
It is exciting. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Jonathan Wride from TenFore Golf and John Brown from GolfBack and GreatLIFE Golf. Thank you both for joining us today for Tech Talks. And let's get back online to see what Google's up to next. Take care, guys.
Sounds good. Thanks guys.
Thanks, John.